chapter 6, Matthew chapter 6, Matthew chapter 6, Matthew chapter 6, the B clause of verse 13. Matthew chapter 6, the B clause of verse 13. You have it, say amen. Amen. This is what it says. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Consecrate me now to thy service, Lord, by the power that raised around with my soul, O God, with a steadfast hope that my will be lost in thine. Amen. For the past several weeks, we have examined the teaching of Jesus on prayer. In particular, we have looked at what is commonly referred to as the Lord's Prayer. However, I suggested to you that it is known in many circles as the disciples' prayer, or if you will, the model prayer. And in this prayer, Jesus establishes a relationship. He says, our Father. And this suggests to us that God, as a Father, knows what's best for us and is intimately concerned with what is going on in our lives. That doesn't always mean that he answers the way that we want him to answer, but it does mean that he knows about us and that he cares for us. These two words, our Father, further suggest that we are a part of the family of God. Therefore, we cannot pray for ourselves something that we are not willing to pray for somebody else. Why? Because we are part of a family. Touch your neighbor, tell your neighbor, we're in this thing together. And after establishing this relationship, there are 6 specific petitions that Jesus says should be a part of our prayers. All the petitions are for the glory of God. The first 3 petitions focus on God, and the last 3 petitions focus on our own needs. We have looked at the fact that prayer is about reverencing God. Hallowed be your name. Prayer is about the reign of God. Your kingdom come. Prayer is about resigning to God. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Prayer is about requesting from God. Give us this day our daily bread. Prayer is about releasing to God. Forgive us our debts as we forgive those who are indebted to us. Prayer is about relying on God. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. The purpose of our journey through this prayer is to see this prayer as more than just words to be repeated, but to see it as a template or a model to guide our own prayer lives. Jesus teaches his disciples this model to challenge us to develop a strong prayer life. The emphasis is not just on the act of prayer, but on developing an attitude of prayer. That's why we ought to pray without ceasing. That's why Jesus said men ought always to pray and not to faint. To pray in such a way means that we keep the lines open between us and heaven so that we can get a prayer through any time of the day. There's much to be covered about this subject of prayer. No one can exhaust this subject of prayer. Cameron Thompson, in his book, Master Secrets of Prayer, stated that no one ever graduates from the kindergarten of prayer. Thank God that there are no doctors of prayer. However, we can continue to learn these master secrets of effective prayer. And the secrets of effective prayer are found in this model presented by Jesus. One of the disciples requested of Jesus that he would teach them to pray. They saw something in the prayer life of Jesus that affected them in such a way that they wanted to learn not to preach, but to pray. Here's the point. Preachers, you could be a great orator, but only one whose life is bathed in prayer becomes a great preacher. I just said something right there. One 19th century preacher once stated that I'd rather teach one man to pray than to teach 10 men to preach. Understand, ladies and gentlemen, that prayer is the lifeblood of every believer. You got to understand that the secret to all failure in life is prayerlessness. Somebody in the house ought to witness to the fact that prayerlessness is a disaster. God froze Jacob at night and consumed him with drought in the day. But 20 years passed before he would even utter a word of prayer. One poor soul decided to enter the school of prayer after his arrival in hell. And he asked for relief from his agony, but it was refused. Daniel would rather spend a night with the lions than to miss a day of prayer. You got to understand, touching everything here, you really got to understand this. The one concern of the devil is to keep Christians from praying. He fears nothing from prayerless studies, prayerless work, or prayerless religion. He laughs at our work, mocks at our wisdom, but trembles when we pray. And if you are a professor and a possessor of Jesus Christ and believe that he is able to do what no other power can do, you must engage yourself intentionally and continuously in the attitude of prayer. That's what Jesus is really saying in this teaching. It's not an outward show, but an inward relationship. There was a man who was invited by a preacher to pray. This preacher had been trying to get this man for a long time, and he could not really get this man where he wanted him to be. And so the preacher thought, I'll get him now. And so the preacher called on him to pray. So the man came to the front of the church. He stood at the front of the church. He bowed his head. And the preacher said, "You're not praying." And the man said, "Sir, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to God." And you got to understand that prayer is communion with the Almighty and Heavenly Father. Here's the shout. Prayer is communion with the Almighty and Heavenly Father who is intimately concerned about us. Y'all can shout on that. Touch your neighbor and say, neighbor, God cares. Prayer is communion with God who loves us and desires to have fellowship with us. That's why Jesus said in Revelation 3:20, "Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone will hear my voice and will open the door, I will come in and sup with him and he with me." Has anybody ever seen that picture depicting Revelation chapter 3 verse 20? If you look at that picture very closely, you will see that when Jesus is knocking at the door, weeds are growing up around the outside of the house, and there is no handle on the door for Jesus to get in, which means then that whoever is on the inside got to open up the door for Jesus to get in. Do I have a witness in the house? And God is saying to us, let me in so that we can commune with each other. Talk to God, yes, but also allow God to talk to you. Tell your neighbor, commune with God. So the final word to this prayer provides a fitting conclusion to this examination of prayer. And isn't it fitting that this conclusion to this prayer comes on Resurrection Sunday? These words are a doxology of praise and are significant and powerful in their scope. Catch the powerful nature of these words. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever.